Whew, it's cold. Whew. Let's see what we have today. View the world as a vast interconnected palace. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Since power is a human creation, it is inevitably increased with contact with other people. Instead of falling into the fortress mentality, view the world in the following manner. It is like a vast palace of Versailles, with every room communicating with another. You need to be permeable, able to float in and out of different circles and mix with different types. That kind of mobility and social contract will protect you from plotters who will be unable to keep secrets from you and from your enemies who will be unable to isolate you from your allies. Always on the move, you mix and mingle in the rooms of the palace, never sitting or settling in one place. No hunter can fix his aim on such a swift-moving creature. Daily law. Because humans are social creatures by nature, power depends on social interaction and circulation. To make yourself powerful, place yourself at the center of things, making yourself more accessible. Seek out old allies and make new ones. Force yourself into more and more different circles. That's from the 48 Laws of Power. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Yeah. Be like water. Be able to take the shape of whatever is necessary for the moment. Let's see what this one says. Where am I at? This one, I don't even know. Alright. Your goals must be rooted in reality. If they are simply beyond your means, essentially impossible for you to realize, you will grow discouraged, and discouragement can quickly escalate into a defeatist attitude. On the other hand, if your goals lack a certain dimension and grandeur, it can be hard to stay motivated. Do not be afraid to be bold. In the large scene, you are working out for yourself what Alexander experienced as his destiny and what Friedrich Nietzsche called your life's task. The thing toward which your nature the thing toward which your natural leanings and aptitudes, talents, and desires seem to point you. Assigning yourself a life task will inspire and guide you. Okay. Assign a life task and don't isolate yourself from the world. That'll hold you back from realizing your life task. Or something like that. It's funny that that page about not building a fortress. I woke up from a dream. Very weird. Very interesting. It was almost like it was almost like watching a TV show. So what I gathered from what was happening is there was like this group of people that were trying to avoid being detected. And it's like they were, from what it felt like in the dream, Like they were a more, like it seemed like it was in a world where, in a world, it was in a world where, how do I describe this? It was like a world that was like a long time ago, but they had like high level technology. Like their capabilities were very advanced. I don't know how to, it was like the mixture of two worlds, the high tech and like the super old world of the past. Almost like maybe even a Lord of the Rings type past, but with like high level like drone technology mixed in with it. Very interesting. And this group of people were had they were like living, they were like hiding in a forest, and this forest like bordered a very vast open space, and they were told not to go into that open space because if you ventured out from the woods into the open, it would be detected, and they didn't want whoever was watching them. They knew that they were being like seeked out and watched, and they knew if like they flew their drone from the wooded area into the open, that it would be detected and it would give away their position. And somebody had done that. And it was interesting because it went from like the view of the drone on like a down on the ground view of the drone, breaking that barrier out, going from woods out into the open. It switched right away into like a drone or a huge drone or like a helicopter up in the air, detecting the drone coming, like it was looking straight down, detecting the drone coming out of the woods, so you could see the drone emerge into the open. And then it cut from that top down view to a bottom up view, like zooming in to the front of the helicopter or the drone that was like seeking them out. And it zoomed in real close to the nose of, I'm just going to call it a helicopter, to the nose of the helicopter, right up to the tiny little camera that had detected it. The whole thing was super cinematic. It looked crazy, the whole dream. And then my alarm woke me up. And there was even like a voice. You could hear like a voiceover, like in a, like over maybe like a microphoned communication, saying something like we've detected their position or something like that. It was so weird for it to be like cinematic. It's the only word I could think of. Very interesting. Then I woke up. So wild what the mind does while you're asleep and how it could do that. Looked like I was watching a TV show. But that kind of mixes in with that don't build a fortress. Once you build a fortress, you'll tend to be trapped in it. And then when you leave the fortress, your departure is detected easily. So you want to be fluid. That's why I said be like water. You want to be fluidly moving in and out all the time. You could have like your little area of safety. You don't want to get trapped there. So you want to be in and out of all areas, so your movement's not detected as out of the ordinary. Or something like that. Let's see what else. Oh, me and my woman were watching this like little 60 minutes, like expose, I guess you can call it. I don't know what else to call it. Of like the whole subculture of look maxing is the term, and really what these It tends to be a male thing. I mean, I guess women do it too, but what these guys are doing, I don't think women are doing. So it's a whole different type of dynamic. So what these guys are doing is they're physically shaping their faces to look more angular and to look more like, I guess they're trying to achieve like that chiseled look to a certain degree, that model-esque kind of chiseled look. And it works. They showed this one guy. I'd never heard of him, but apparently he's the most famous one out of all these people that do this, because I guess it's like a whole social media kind of, these guys are known. They're content creators and they're streamers. So in that whole world, they're known. This guy's name's Clavicular. And they showed before and after pictures from like when he was like young to what he looks now. He looks completely different. So he changed his look completely by doing it. They do something called bone smashing, where it sounds rough. It sounds real extreme, but they're kind of just like tapping their face with like a hammer or like some sort of heavy blunt object. And from what they showed, not like hitting themselves hard. It just looks like they're tapping their face gently with a hammer or a whatever, like a mallet. And the whole idea is to cause these like micro fissures, these tiny little microscopic fractures in the bone. And when the bone heals, fills in those cracks with new material to reshape the face. So they do it around like their cheekbones and their chin and like just different areas of the face. And they do it seems to do something, but really it's like just another form of body dysmorphia. Like they see themselves a certain way and they want to look different from that. So they do this. But they've termed what they do bone smashing, and it sounds really like, the bone smashing, it sounds crazy. Bone tapping probably would have been a more accurate label. But that doesn't grab attention in a video title. I'm sure that's why it's called something so crazy, just to get you to click. But yeah, there's people out there doing that. And the guy that they were interviewing, this Clavicular person, it's weird. I mean, he's super young. And he's just like, really what he is a biohacker. He's like onto all kinds of different things for, I guess you could say, health. He's taking peptides and GLP-1s and every single thing out there to maximize the attractiveness of his visual look. And it's really all to, it seems, I guess from what I gathered, the whole point really is to try to get women. Because I guess the whole look maxing thing is somehow connected to incels who are into it most. Because, they're involuntarily celibate. Like, they're not out there mingling with it's not. See, the problem, the whole time I was watching it, it's like, okay, you can change the way you look, but look maxing isn't going to change who you are. And it's who you are that's going to attract women. I don't want to see very unattractive, but I've seen less than optimally good-looking guys get chicks easily just because of their personality. It's because they're super social and not afraid to just walk up to women and talk to them, and mostly make them laugh. Really, that's the key. If you can engage a woman's mind, they'll look past a lot of the what you might see as a physical flaw. That's what I always kind of thought. Really want to do is engage the mind. Because the looks thing, I mean, maximizing how you look, this is how I see it. Only focusing on how you look is only effective up until the point where you open your mouth and start to talk. Like, you might catch their eye, but if you open your mouth and you have nothing interesting to say, or if everything you say is completely unattractive and a turnoff, it doesn't matter how you look. Women aren't going to want to have anything to do with you. But I guess really all the whole point of this look maxing thing is these guys are just trying to get laid. And this guy says he has a girlfriend, or I don't even know. I don't even remember. I guess he just dates a lot of women. But it just seems like these guys are just trying to get laid. Which, whatever. I mean, if that's all you're out there trying to do, I guess it works. I'm glad I don't have to be out there in the dating world. I just wouldn't do it. At this point, I'm out. I'm fortunate to have the woman I have. I would be okay with being a hermit. I'd be like that little, like in those like stories, like what would it be like? I guess at that point, like, if you have that attitude, it's like I guess you're voluntary. You would be considered voluntarily celibate, not involuntarily. So like incel wouldn't work. It'd be like something else, like another term. Vol cell, V cell. Who knows? But yeah, it's a wild thing to hear this kid talk. North 14 closed. I'm not going on the 14. Because it's weird, because I guess, I mean, this kid's on just on a lot of stuff. And I don't know if that affects his, like, how he expresses himself, but he seems like, just the way he talks and the look in his eye, and his whole demeanor as this interview was taking place, he looked like an empty shell of a human. And he was answering the questions, but just there seemed to be no life, like no light, no, like if everything was working out so well for him with what he's doing, he shouldn't come off with the energy that he was. Maybe he didn't want to do the interview. Who knows? There could be a lot of elements as to why his energy came off the way it did, but he didn't seem like I don't know, just didn't look happy. That's why I was like, okay, you could change, you could do all these things. You could do what this kid's doing and change how you look. Well, changing how you look doesn't change who you are. Sure, it might give you access to women, I guess. But I think these are the fringe extremes of social society. People like this kid, and any kind of woman that would like people like this kid. Those are the extremes. I don't think the average woman would be into this kid. I guess somehow this kid's been linked to people like Andrew Tate and who else? There's another name, I forget. Like, I guess the manosphere, I guess is the term. He's like part of that whole group. They call him like misogynists and like whatever, maybe. Who knows? It just seems like he does the same thing like women do to catch a guy. He's just doing the same thing to catch women. I don't see anything wrong with that, I guess. I mean, I guess the female version of look maxing would be makeup and all the, body enhancement surgeries and the procedures like Botox and plastic surgery. That would be the female equivalent to it. I'm sure you don't see women tapping their face with hammers. Like literally hammers. But then too, when they showed him doing that, I'm like, as light as it looked like he was tapping his face, I'm like, how? I don't think you're causing like bone fractures. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if bone fractures that easily. It looked like the lightest of taps on the face with a hammer. Just over and over again, just tap, 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 tap. And the theory behind it sounds like it would be accurate. But what I saw, I don't think would cause what he's saying is happening. But what do I know? So weird. The world is a very strange place. This is why I try to stay out of it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. This is what's going on in the world. People are tapping their faces with hammers. I'm out. This younger generation's cooked. My advice for guys, if you're having a hard time with women, just ask them questions. If you get into a social circle, start asking questions. Get them talking. You don't have to come out with a bunch of stuff about you. Don't talk about you. Ask them about them. Show interest. It's an attractive quality. Women want to know that you're interested in them. Best way to do that? Ask questions. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Do you have any sisters? You guys fight when you were older? What were you interested in school? What was your favorite subject? Just what do you do for work? You enjoy doing that? No? What would you rather be doing for work? What did you always want to do when you grew up? Why aren't you doing that? Then just ask a bunch of questions. That's what I would do at this point. Thank God I don't have to. That sounds exhausting. And then when you ask those questions, if they just give you one word answers, or very short, unarticulated questions. Cut that one loose. Next. But again, it just seems like these guys are trying to get laid, so they're not trying to get to know women. They're just trying to get in. Which I've never been that kind of guy, so whatever, to each their own. Just trying to have sex, I guess, whatever. I try to get in the heart and in the mind. And I guess it probably doesn't hurt that I'm like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm not ugly. I wouldn't say I'm ugly. I guess I'm good looking. Or at least, average. Average guy. Make room for these people that want to speed. Not trying to speed. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. I don't understand how guys have a hard time engaging women. Like, I've heard people say that he doesn't know how to talk to women. Ask questions. It's just questions. You don't know how to think of a good question? That's the problem. I think, like, the way everybody's mentality has developed, they're not able to ask good questions anymore. You're fine. Shut up. A truck honked at me. The lanes were merging. I couldn't get over yet. So then when I did and I moved past, he gave me a little toot. I think it is too with these younger. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's guys in general. They take maybe it's just humanity in general. Everybody's taking everything way too seriously. I know it sounds like maybe like dark, and I don't mean for this to sound depressing, but I think at the very end of all of this experience, this all ends the same for us. It doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter what status you've achieved in life, or it all ends the same. We all die, right? We're all going to end up, for the most part, all the extremes aside, for the most part, we all end up in a bed lying there knowing that, the last couple breaths are coming. It's, and I think when we're in that position, if we can all make it to that point, all extreme accidents aside, I think we're all going to be like, man, I took all this way too serious. It wasn't all that. I should have been a little bit more playful with life. And people have like a death grip on it, trying to control every facet of it. And I think guiding your life is important, but like to have a death grip on it to the point where you're not enjoying it is not a good thing. I think it's got to be a balance of the two. I don't know. Maybe some people would say I don't try to guide it enough. Maybe I've enjoyed a little bit too much. I'm a little too relaxed and a little too playful. Maybe. But I don't know. That's just how I am. I think it's more important to be a great person than to achieve great things. A lot of horrible people have achieved great things. Right? I mean, okay. Running a country, being the leader of a whole country. It would seem like it would take a great person to do that. Okay? Hitler did that. Hitler ran a whole country. So to a certain degree, achieving greatness doesn't equal great. I think, I don't know the number. There's a number associated to it, but I think at one time Genghis Khan conquered almost like a huge percentage of the known world. Like his kingdom was, I think, the most vast out of any kingdom ever to exist. At the time, anyways. But he was like ruthless. You had to be back then. So yeah, that was my eye-opening night. It's the world of look-maxing. And there was like maybe 3 people, 2 that I remember specifically. One of them still seemed normal, like when his interview or bits of his interview were shown. Like you can tell by his answers, he still had some like life in him. There was like a brightness to him, and like at least some level of happiness. You could tell. But this one kid that they focused on the most, he just seemed like an empty shell of a human. And again, maybe he just didn't, because he ended up walking out of the interview. It was very ugly how he behaved at the very end. Like this interviewer was asking, I guess maybe it was the way the guy was interviewing him too, because that could have been it too. So I'll give the kid a little bit of break, because the interviewer was a horrible interview. He asked the worst questions. He kept going back to the same thing. Okay, maybe that's what it was. I'm gonna give this kid a break. Because I did notice that I was like, this guy asks horrible questions for being an interviewer for 60 minutes. My girlfriend was like, yes. I thought so too. And like towards the end of the interview, like like the interviewer was saying something, and the kid just like interrupted him with like 2 more questions. I was like, damn, this kid's over it. And I even forget what the last question was, but the kid just like I don't even remember if he answered. I just remember him getting up and walking off. All right, we're done. I would have done a much better job. I would be fascinated by this, and the guy seemed the interviewer seemed more not fascinated, but more like aghast. I think would be the word. Like he already, I guess maybe that's what it was. The interviewer almost already sounded like judgmental. I would have approached it with more just innocent curiosity. Like, this is so wild. Okay, let's get into this. And he started doing this when he was 14, this kid. When he first started trying to maximize his look. Really, what it seems like is just another cult. It's just another ideological cult. There's like whole subculture of people tapping their face with hammers, talking about ascending. I guess they have like their own vocabulary too, for how they speak of things. Very interesting, the human animal, things we get caught up in. Mine was veganism. A little cult mentality I got swept up in was veganism. It took me a while. It took me a while to realize, like, oh, okay, this whole thing is like a cult. Be careful. Be careful with the groups you associate with. The moment you find yourself starting to other people, you get like this us against them mentality, and you get real like judgmental, and you've now entered into a group, and the group mentalities can become very cultish quickly without you knowing. Humans. All right, I've made it safely to my destination. I hope everybody has a great day. Let's go to work.